You buy something with your credit card, and the charge shows up on your account before you've even left the store. You return that same item a week later, get your refund receipt, and then wait 3 to 7 business days to see the money back. It feels like the system is holding on to your money for no reason. From the system's perspective, it's managing risk at a scale most of us never think about. When you swipe your card to make a purchase, that transaction appears on your account almost immediately, sometimes within seconds. You can open your banking app and see it right there, even marked as pending. But when you return something, the cashier processes your refund, hands you a receipt, and tells you it'll take 3 to 7 days to show up. You check your account that night. Still there. You check the next day. Still there. Maybe on day 3 or 4, it finally reverses. Here's where the delay actually comes from. When you make a purchase, you're not moving money. What's happening is an authorization. The card network checks whether you have enough available credit, reserves that amount, and sends an approval back to the merchant in seconds. Your account reflects this hold almost instantly because it's just a reservation. The actual movement of money happens later in a process called settlement, but your available credit drops right away. Refunds follow a different path. When you return something, the merchant initiates a refund transaction. This goes into their system, gets batched with other refunds, then gets sent to their payment processor. The processor forwards it to the card network, which sends it to your bank. Your bank verifies it against the original transaction. Only after all of that does the credit reappear. Each step involves checks, queues, and time delays. This is the key difference. When you make a purchase, the risk is contained. The merchant is asking for money, and the system is checking one thing. Does this person have the credit available? If yes, authorize it. If no, decline it. Speed matters because customers and merchants both want instant confirmation at the point of sale. Refunds introduce a different risk profile. Money is flowing backward, from the merchant to you. The system has to verify that the original purchase happened, that it matches the refund amount, that the merchant is legitimate, and that this isn't refund fraud. People make purchases, dispute them, and sometimes try to get money back for things they never returned. Merchants can also make errors or process fraudulent refunds. The system builds in time to allow for verification and error correction. Card networks process billions of transactions every day. A tiny percentage of errors or fraud, when multiplied across that volume, represents millions of dollars in exposure. The system minimizes that exposure, even if it means individuals wait longer for refunds. Speed in one direction and caution in the other makes mathematical sense at this scale. There's another factor. When you make a purchase, your bank is essentially promising to pay the merchant's bank. That promise can happen quickly. But when a refund occurs, the merchant's bank has to send money back to your bank, and banks don't move money between each other instantly. They use settlement systems that run in batches, often once a day. Your bank might receive the refund information quickly, but they wait for the actual funds to settle before crediting your account. Humans think in terms of fairness and reciprocity. If the system can take my money in seconds, it should be able to give it back in seconds. But the system doesn't think in terms of fairness. It thinks in terms of risk, verification, and settlement windows. For people, refunds are about trust. For systems, they're about proof. There's also a mismatch in how holds and credits work. When you make a purchase, your bank can place a hold immediately because it's reducing your available balance. That prevents you from overspending. But when processing a refund, your bank is increasing your available balance, and they wait until they've confirmed the funds are actually coming before giving you access. It's a conservative approach that protects the bank from having to reverse a credit if something goes wrong. What does the system gain from this design? Fraud prevention, error correction windows, and predictable settlement processes. It reduces refund abuse. It gives merchants and banks time to reconcile transactions and catch mistakes before money moves. It allows the payment infrastructure to function reliably across millions of merchants and billions of cardholders without constant manual intervention. What do individuals lose? Time and convenience. You lose access to your money for days, even though the transaction is clearly legitimate from your perspective. Speeding up refunds would require real-time settlement between banks, significant infrastructure changes across the entire financial system, and new fraud detection methods that work in real time for refunds. It would require everyone in the chain to accept more risk. Because the current system works reliably for the institutions involved, there's limited incentive to overhaul it for individual convenience. Understanding how the system thinks doesn't make the wait shorter. It doesn't make the asymmetry feel fair, but it does explain why the system behaves the way it does. The delay isn't personal. It's structural. Speed feels fair. Verification feels slow. But at scale, verification is what keeps the system stable.